Let me begin talking about IMC. We create medication management technologies. I have some of them with me today. So this is an example of our smart blister package. It has battery and sensor that can detect dose removals, as well as temperature exposure. So it fits seamlessly inside the layers of cardboard and produces a smart package. It's flexible. The example that I am showing here is a 14 dose for oral medication. But we also support, for example, injectables, like a 5-pen set, or ampules, syringes, what have you. And then to cover all of our bases and form factors, we produce smart bottles as well, such as the ECAP device, which fits on various types of bottles. I'm using an amber pharmacy bottle here, but we fit white bottles, anything basically that can be used with standard threading, we can support it. So we can cover any route of administration, from oral, injectable. It can be tracked using our technology. And I should also mention that we are a full-stop shop. We produce the hardware, i.e. the smart packaging, as well as companion software, web portals, mobile apps, the whole gamut. We are international and vertically integrated. You can see on screens here some examples of our locations. We do engineering in Ottawa, Canada. We are a Canadian outfit, and we do marketing and support much more broadly around the world, as well as owning production facilities in Thailand to make sure that we can always deliver on time and in volume. To date, we've shipped over 2 million smart packages deployed into clinical trial processes, and we are very proud of our supply chain, and the fact that we are so vertically integrated means that we can shield customers from all kinds of issues around supply disruptions. During COVID, for example, we shipped hundreds of thousands of packages when trials were in flux all over the world, and when chips, especially, we all remember, were very supply constrained. So we've managed to master our own supply chain, and we've used that to great advantage and to great customer advantage. We envision a world where medication adherence management is a requirement of good clinical practice, and where no drug trial ever fails for adherence-related reasons. This is a lofty goal, but it is an important goal because poor adherence is a trial risk and cost multiplier. Poor adherence is very widespread in trials. Approximately 40% of participants become non-adherent after 150 days. Everyone starts out with good intentions. No one means to become non-adherent, but life gets in the way, especially for participants in trials who are suffering from disease. That's why they're there. They have other concerns on their mind, so adherence can slip, and we have lots of data, and the industry knows about this as well. It's widely known. There's not been historically very many good solutions until technology came along. But the costs are also, well, maybe not so widely understood, but they're there. Trials recruit more people to maintain power. They bake into their enrollment targets, assuming a certain level of non-adherence, so they have to over-recruit. Trials take longer, and as a result, drugs spend less time on patent. This is especially pernicious, because if you're a company that needs to sell product, you want to maximize your time spent on patent. Lost days means lost revenue. If you're a niche drug, for example, it could be $600,000 a day lost revenue for every day that the trial delays. If you're a blockbuster, $8 million per day. So this is, as I said, especially a pernicious point. There are social and health system opportunity costs because drugs that could save lives and improve lives are not being given to patients. The healthcare systems are buckling. There's all kinds of knock-on effects from that. Poor adherence also causes incomplete knowledge of side effects. You don't want to discover later on that the drug does something unintentional, and that could lead to costly relabeling, God forbid, even a recall. And finally, a risk that clinical trial will fail in a late phase because non-adherence really screws up statistical data. It introduces all kinds of variability, and when the time comes to submit to the FDA, the data might not be as perfect as it could be, and the FDA might not approve the drug. Overall, more resources times more time times more uncertainty is scream emoji. Poor adherence really is a risk and cost multiplier. So the solution is to lift adherence to drive efficiency. Broadly, there's two ways that this can be done: individualized interventions and population enrichment. Individualized interventions means using technology at the scale of a trial in order to target patients, to identify those who need assistance, and possibly intervene automatically with reminders through phones, AI ML applications, etc. But underpinning that needs a strong foundation of data. Did the patient take their drugs or not? If they did, there's nothing to do. But if they didn't, and if how they are non-adherent or how they are missing their drugs or even taking extra drugs, that's valuable raw data that can be used to power these individualized intervention systems. And then the second way to lift adherence is through population enrichment. Population enrichment is sort of like doing a mini trial, like a screener before beginning the main trial. Adaptive trials are a hot topic right now in the world of pharma, and this is an example of one such adaptive trial. By doing the lead-in with a screening process for adherence, you can ensure that you've enriched the real trial population with more highly adherent patients. And the fundamental ROI of adherence, which is hard to believe but true, is that for every 1% increase in adherence, trials can reduce enrollment by 2% while still maintaining statistical power. As I mentioned earlier, enrollment targets are built and have a baked-in assumption of a certain level of non-adherence, but if you can control for that, these assumptions can change. So therefore, you can change your enrollment targets. Let's run through a quick ROI scenario then. I have an example of a standard trial here with some pretty typical numbers. 1,000 participants, say 100-week duration, and a marginal cost of $5,000 per participant, and an expected annual revenue once approved and on the market of $250 million. We can lift adherence by 1%, by only 1%. Remember that we can reduce enrollment by 2%. That can result in 980 participants. So somewhat smaller, but because of the costs involved and because of the proportional duration shortening as well, we can end up with 100,000 direct savings just from reduced enrollment, as well as the big one, 9.6 million in potential new revenue from more weeks on patent. That's huge. Another use of adherence is to optimize phase 3. Phase 3 is the largest, most expensive, and most critical stage in drug development. So the use of adherence data from phase 2 can really help to optimize the phase 3 process. Walk through another scenario. So let's say that a phase 2 is completed and the data is being analyzed. First question to ask is, what was the observed phase 2 effectiveness? Did the drug work in the patients who took it, or did it not? Let's go down the low branch first. First question to ask, if it's low, you might be thinking, well, drug's not very efficacious. Is it really worth pursuing a phase 3 with all that expense and all that rigor? If deeper analysis reveals hidden effectiveness among patients who were adherent to the drug, then that changes your estimations and your calculations. If the answer is no, so if adherence really does not improve efficacy, then it's better to maybe fail fast, make a no-go decision, and avoid the expense of a phase 3. But if you look deeper and you can see among the adherent population that efficiency really is there, well, then you might have saved the drug from failing out, and you can salvage it and continue forward, get it to market. Jump over now to the high branch at the top here. So if during phase 2, the drug is efficacious, it shows strong signs of working and helping the patients in their disease state, you might want to know, is it worth pursuing smart packaging in phase 3? And we, of course, no surprises here, we do still recommend smart packaging in phase 3, even if it's a highly efficacious drug, for all the reasons I mentioned previously: to control costs, maintain data quality, and even more. There are more complementary benefits that can be unlocked by using smart packaging and adherence management technologies. Because they are devices, there's electronics that go into packaging, and there's a whole platform in play. There's opportunities to use these devices in situ to do things like automation. So replacing pill counts, manual e-diaries, paper-based forms, personalization, using adherence data as a source of truth to build up each person's individual health context for AI and other digital therapeutic solutions. Doing supply and cold chain activities, such as monitoring for environmental exposure and to detect tampering. I don't think I mentioned this before, maybe I did, but we also have full temperature sensing on all of our packages, so especially for things like injectables, where you don't want to leave it outside of the fridge for too long. We can detect that and raise alerts if we notice something has gone wrong. Decentralization is another use case, complementary use case. The ability to collect data remotely, therefore reducing monitoring costs, monitoring expenses, site visits, as well as data handling and pickup costs. Bottom line is that adherence management is an investment, not an expense. And I want to come back to the slide that I showed earlier, the triple constraint: more resources times more time times more uncertainty. Poor adherence is in fact a risk and cost multiplier, but there's a flip side which is that less risk, lower costs, and complementary use cases are also possible with adherence management, which is really thought of as insurance and assurance. So thank you very much.